Hey guys, Curt Chan, Technical Evangelist at Autodesk, and today I want to talk to you about the difference between a rule fillet and a regular fillet. So let's go and jump right in. The example I put together was a basic heat sink. And what I want to do is basically fillet all these internal fins right here and put a, let's say, 25 thousandths radius fillet on each one of these. So we'll start off with just the basic fillet command and how you would tackle something like this. One I want to talk to you about first is selection sets, because it's really powerful if you get everything set up correctly. What a selection set does is if I maybe select an edge and command select or control select two edges, right click and say create selection set. What that allows me to do is if I ever want to come back to that selections in my tree here, the browser adds a selection set folder, something called selection set, and I can then hover right over and then select just those two pieces. So I actually did this for all the bottom edges of the fins. So if you can see here, I have all these selections here. Hover over, hit select, and you can see everything that will pick up. Now, very top, I'm going to drop it under modify, come over here to fillet, and let's pick up those selection edges. And then now we'll go with a fillet of 0.025, just like that. And does that beautifully. Say OK. Simple, right? But let's say if we want to make changes now. So for example, if I actually go into the very first sketch that I created and I actually change the length of this heatsink, let's go from 4 inches to now 6 inches. Take a look at this guy. What you're going to see now is what's going to happen to the fillets, right? So will it now update seamlessly? Yay and nay. You'll see here under the fillet that was added in the history that it's just not picking up. If I right click, I can go to review warning, and you can see that some of the references are lost. This is a big problem, as well as, check this out, if I actually go into the pattern of the middle fins, let me show you guys this. If I right click on the pattern and under edit, if I change the amount of instances, let's go from 20 to 27 because I now extended it a little bit longer. Even when I say OK, you're going to see that it doesn't add fillets to the other instances that I created here. So this is a big thing too. Now, I don't know if you guys noticed is that when I created this, all the fins actually spaced out very evenly, even from the beginning. Let me go back and edit that right here. Go and edit that initial pattern right on my tree. Let's right click, edit. If I even go back to 20, you can see I have even nice spacing here. And I want to talk about parameters. And this is really key in how I did this, is that I know that if I rotate this guy around for you, if you look at it here, is the distance from this back edge to the first fin is about 700 thousandths, and then on both sides. So what I did is I created a parameter. If I go up to under modify, you could drop down to change parameters, and I actually added it as a shortcut key on the very top. If you want to know how to add to a shortcut, if you hover over any one of these guys, it gives you a little arrow. You can now add that up to your toolbar. Go and select change parameters. And what I did is for the length, which is 6 inches, right? The length of my heatsink. For the pattern, I said, scrolling down here, you're going to see the pattern. I said take the length minus 1.4-ish, 4.5 inches, or basically it's kind of double the size. So 0.70 plus 0.70 roughly, is 1.4. So I said minus that to give me that nice distance in between this guy right here. So the nice thing is that no matter how long this gets, those fins in the middle are always going to space out evenly for it to keep that parametrically driven. So hopefully that makes sense. You guys can see the value of where parametrics can come into. Because if I didn't do that and I extended the length of this heatsink, then everything is just going to be kind of jumbled up by itself with all the instances. But I want it to evenly be spaced in the middle. So if you want some more information on parameters, definitely take a look at Taylor Stein's video. Go ahead and feel free to click on it at the upper right hand corner of the screen, and you can learn a little bit more about parameters. But with that said, let's now take a look at the value of a rule fillet. let's jump right in. So I'm going to go and just delete this fillet here, just like that. And I'm going to change back the initial parameter, or that initial length of the heatsink, back to 4. Close that guy out, accept that. And what I'm going to do too is I actually did a mirror command, and I'm going to roll back a little bit so you guys can see and we can focus just mainly on a piece of it. I can always go back and mirror it, but it's going to just roll back my mirror. And if we zoom in, let's now take a stab at this guy and show you guys what Rule Fillet is all about. So with Rule Fillet, if I drop down, come over here to Rule Fillet, what you'll see here is a couple different options, and we'll talk about this. I'm going to pick against features, and this is very critical in this example, because what's going to happen here is going to say, well, what's the input feature faces that I want to be affected? So what I'm going to select in my feature manager down here, the browser history, is I'm going to pick actually that first fin that I have plus its instances, the pattern, as well as the bigger fin, as well as its instances, as well as now the mirror feature of this guy. So if we take a look at the mirror piece as well, so we got all those pieces together. And then what's the feature I want it to go against? So the against features means that these guys, these fins that I have selected, I'm going to pick this bottom feature down here of the extrude of my heatsink. So in my tree, I'm going to select that bottom plate, and the reason for this is what I'm saying is that these fins that are touching that face add fillets to it. Now, if you look at the topology, I have all fillets, and I have round fillets. Let's take a look at each one of these and what this does. So I'm going to add 25 thousandths of an inch to the for the radius, and look what's going to happen here. See how it's going through? Let's zoom right in. See how it's going through and automatically adding all the fillets and rounds, because what I have is for topology is any. If I pick to all fillets, it's just going to look at it as, well, where can I apply a fillet, right? Because a fillet adds material and a round removes material, right? If I hop down over to all rounds, you can see that now it's just only adding rounds to wherever it can add rounds between the fins and that base plate. I'm going to keep it on all fillets. Now the beauty about this and the value added of why you would use a Rule Fillet is because when I make changes, right? So I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to now go back in and make some basic changes here. So if we go back to that initial sketch, right click, edit the sketch. I'm going to make this guy 6 inches long. Go ahead and stop sketching, and let's see what exactly is going to happen here. Okay, so with that, everything extends. I see no errors or warnings. It even, of course, with my parameters, everything spreads out beautifully, as well as all the Rule Fillet updates nicely. Now let's say even if I change the amount of instances I have on my pattern, if I come back over to that initial pattern for the center fins, right click, go over to edit, and let's change that instances to quantity of 20, right? Say okay. It's going to go through. Recognize that any fin that's touching that bottom base plate is going to add a fillet of 25 thousandths to. So a really slick way. So now what I can do is mirror this guy, right? And then go back and edit any one of these on this, any one of these features, or even edit the Rule Fillet, of course, will propagate. So what I'm going to do is drop down under Create, come under Mirror. I'm going to pick Pattern Bodies. That's the pattern type. Select it. What's the mirror plane? This face, just like that. Say OK. And now I have the final piece of my heatsink. So anytime I make the change through parameters, this will always update, as well as the Rule Fillet. So hopefully this helps you guys out in regards to understanding the difference between really when to use a Rule Fillet versus a regular fillet and the value added. If you liked the video, click the thumbs up. Follow me on Twitter at Curt_Chan, and look forward to some more tips and tricks, guys. Thanks again.